Certainly. So Abzena is a service and technology provider for the biopharmaceutical R&D industry, and what distinguishes us is that we are providing those services to our partners to give them the tools to develop better products. So we're not developing our own products, so we're not carrying that binary risk typically associated with biotech companies who are developing their own programs through clinical development. So we're providing those services, providing those technologies, and it's a dual business model, which means that we're generating revenue today from working with our partners. But as they adopt our technologies and adopt those technologies which define those products, we have the potential to earn license fees, milestone payments, and royalties on those products in the future. So there's really significant upside potential in the future from the royalty income. So it's a hybrid model which really distinguishes us from a pure service company or the high risk, binary risk biotech companies. So yeah, that model we really like, our partners like it, and we find that investors really like it as well. So on the acquisition, the recent acquisition of PacificGMP, that extends our offering into GMP manufacturing of biopharmaceuticals, so antibodies and therapeutic proteins. So in the past, we've only been able to work with our partners as far as cell line development, manufacturing cell line development, and then we would hand over the programs to our partners to take into a GMP manufacturing environment. So this extends our offering now, so we can work with our partners further through the development process. I sometimes characterize it as being able to work with our partners as they go from lab bench into clinical development. So we can now do that manufacturing with the acquisition of PacificGMP. It also gives us a US operating footprint. Today, the majority of our business has come from US partners, but actually now we have an operational base in the US as well, which helps us work closer with our partners. And really what we're doing is providing an integrated solution for development. So we can go through protein engineering, antibody engineering, into cell line development, into manufacturing. So it's working and holding our partners' hands as they work through and use the right pieces and the pieces of our offering that they really want to use. So it's really important for us as we build out the business and grow the business. And when we came to market, we said that acquisitions would be a significant part of our strategy. And this is the first acquisition we've made since being a public company. If you look back at Abzena, we actually came together as an amalgamation of a number of companies: PolyTherics, Warwick Effect Polymers, Antitope, and now with the acquisition of PacificGMP, we're building that capability. So it's a really important step for us in terms of that acquisition. The development pipeline is those programs which are in clinical development, which we have a license interest in. So these are programs which have come through our antibody re-engineering platform, the composite human antibody platform, and as they progress, and eventually some of them, we wouldn't expect all of them to work, that's the nature of the industry, as some of those reach the market, we've got the potential to earn royalties on those products, and those royalties have potential to generate very significant cash flow into the future, and so have very significant value today. So the more products in the pipeline, the more chance we've got of getting those significant future royalty revenues. And each of those products in themselves are being developed by our partners, not ourselves. So we're not investing in the development of those. So we're not carrying that investment risk, but we're participating in the future. So actually having gone now to 10 programs in the clinic, a significant step forward, because it's actually doubled the number of programs which are in the clinic with our partners' hands since the time of our IPO, which is 5 last year, 10 today. So we're really pleased with seeing that progression of programs into the clinic and within the clinic programs progressing in the clinic. So really two significant parts of our business are being validated by that news flow. Expansion of our offering with the acquisition of PacificGMP and the progression of the clinical pipeline of programs which come through our re-engineering services, of which we've got a license interest in. So it's validating both parts of that model. So really significant news flow for us. As we continue to grow the business, what we're looking at is on the development side, we're seeing potential for further programs to come into the clinic. We've got a portfolio of about 40 license and license option agreements, so we'll see the progression of more programs coming into the clinic and progressing through the clinic. So we anticipate 2 to 3 programs a year actually moving into clinical development. So there'll be news flow associated with that, as we've just seen with 2 more programs coming into the clinic looking ahead. So we anticipate that steady flow of new programs coming into the clinic. Within the programs which are already in the clinic, So we expect news flow associated with those, whether it be clinical data, and of course we don't know what the clinical data will be, but Gilead have said that they are anticipating clinical readouts, some interim data on simtuzumab in the latter part of this year. And that'll be interesting to see, and that will be potentially meaningful to us. And also then in terms of partnering activity, there are programs which are being developed by private biotech companies, and they could potentially be partnered into the future into the hands of major companies, major pharma partners. So that's on the development side of programs which we've already worked on. We've announced in this week in terms of our AGM update that we are seeing significant growth in our service revenues. So looking forward, I think investors should be looking to see the trajectory of growth of our service revenues, and so looking at our financial announcements. And then also PacificGMP is an acquisition we've just made, but we've got a blueprint for growing Abzena and anticipate further acquisitions. So as further acquisitions come along, those of course will be announced. So we're looking to very much grow the business. I sometimes think of the quote from Lao Tzu, who said a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. I think about that journey of 1,000 miles. There's many steps. We took our first step a long time ago. Now we're following that with many steps through the journey to build Abzena. We're very conscious of the pricing pressure, reimbursement pressure on the pharmaceutical sector and pricing on products. Ultimately, we will be exposed to that pressure through our royalty interest in particular products as they reach the market. But typically the structure of our deals is that we have a percentage interest in the revenues, and clearly our partners are looking to maximise the value of those products. So we are indirectly exposed to pricing pressure, but not directly, and certainly not directly today. And it doesn't apply to any one particular program that we've worked on and is going through development. I think the other area that I'm always very conscious of, and it's both an opportunity and a challenge, is actually the growth of the industry and the biologics industry in China. We are competing with Chinese companies as they try to establish their service offering. But what we also find whilst they're competing, is kind of now what we're seeing in China is what happened a decade or so ago with India, and the establishment of chemistry companies in India is ultimately partners are wanting to work with companies which they are confident in working with. They're confident in the data, they're confident in the quality of the data and the relationship. And we've seen instances where falsification of data coming from service providers from China means that our partners are increasingly looking to work with companies established in Europe and the US. So we're always cognizant of the growth of the industry in China, but we're confident in our offering, and our offering is being valued by our partners. Financially, as I say, we expect to be growing our service revenues, and we'll see the impact of the acquisition of PacificGMP coming through. We expect that to have a positive contribution to the EBITDA, although we're a loss-making group today. We also are on a trajectory ultimately to profitability, so we'll see the impact of the revenues and the EBITDA contribution from PacificGMP coming through this year. And operationally, we've really now, with the footprint in the US, with the footprint here in the UK, is integrating the business as one, so we can provide a unified offering to our partners. So it's making sure that we operate as one business, as Abzena, for our partners, and there's our partners should look at us as Abzena as one company and not as siloed operations in the UK and US. And so that integration, I'm really pleased with the way it started with PacificGMP within the group, and we'll be delivering on that over the coming months.